to even think of dreaming of starting a company. There are fallacies. There are areas where we are actually missing the points. There are many points that we are missing. So somebody's recording, thankfully. Okay, I don't know if there was some student, I'll call him again. If there is something that is going on, I do not know. There is a call from somebody. Let me see if it is from a student. Yes. Who is this? Some wrong number perhaps. So all of you do one thing and do for good for today. You write your roll number first and then the name. Roll number first and then the name. Do it quickly and I'll take a copy and close this chapter of attendance because I cannot take the attendance. So just write. Okay, I am being muted very frequently for whatever reason. Whosoever has begun this meeting did a disservice to the entire class. Shiva Chaudhary. Anyway, he has an excuse. So let us move forward. Half the time is over. Now let us know why startups fail, and then let us also try to understand that the causes of this majority of this failed startups actually can be averted. If you are knowledgeable why startups fail, then very soon you will realize that, not very soon, meaning immediately you will realize that these causes can be averted. So if you are aware, that is why this particular class is to tell you the causes of failure so that you come to terms with the fact that you don't have to be really afraid to start a startup, and all the causes for which millions of dollars are going down the drain could have been averted, provided they knew why startups fail. So let us see. Before we move to the main topic, here are some quotations that will even help you better. Charlie Munger said, all I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. Meaning that if I know why startups fail, I will never commit the same mistake. I'll not repeat the same thing, so nobody will actually means I will not fail. That is the thing. And John C. Maxwell said, don't be afraid of failure. Even if 99% of the companies are failing or 100% of the companies are failing, that means they're failing first time or maybe second time or maybe third times. But at some point of time, they are not failing. They're becoming successful. Maxwell says, failing is the part of the story. Failing is part of learning. If you are not failing, you are not learning. You will never mature. You will start a business. You will find some success. You may think that I am not failing, but that is not the end of the road. That is only beginning of the journey. And at some point of time, you will fail so disappointingly that you will lose all your wealth, all your assets, all your whatever you have. So you will never be able to come back. So don't wait for that time to fail. Try to fail early, meaning try to understand if this venture is taking you anywhere, like the nano venture, Tata Nano. It is still failing, but Tata is not relieving that. Tata is still fighting. So Tata can fight because they have billions of dollars. But suppose I started this nano business and it is so close to my heart, just like it is close to Ratan Tata, that I never want to call it quit. I think that I'll be successful someday or the other. Now, Nano is selling one car in maybe 6 months. In 6 months' time, Nano is selling just one car. Who can afford that? Nobody can afford, except Tatas or maybe Birlas. So we need to understand the beginning itself whether this car is going to be successful. If not, let us not burn so much cash that we'll never leave the energy to fight back and come back. That is the tragedy. So you need to understand early on that this is not going to be a successful venture, and stop burning resources, burning time, and most importantly, if other people realize, other people meaning your valuable employees, the key employees who are going to drive your company, they will realize even before you that this company is not going anywhere. So they will start quitting, and once you lose the main manpower, it's very difficult to recruit again. So they are the greatest asset that a company may have. That is why it is always better that you understand and then pivot and then start something else, or maybe fine tune your strategies and then restart. So fail early, fail often. Often means fail quickly and many times. The many times you fail, many learnings you have, and then you become so resilient and so smart, so knowledgeable that now even many of the causes of failure will not be able to fail you, because you are already resilient. You learned, you have taken, you have done, you have adopted strategies which will be good enough to prevent your failure and fail forward, meaning that don't give up. If you fail, don't give up. You restart with new energy, with new strategies. Don't commit the same mistake again. With the knowledge that you gain from the failure, you restart not to commit the same mistake and move forward. So there will be less chance of failure. There will always be chances of failure, but now there are less chances, because not only you learn from the failure, you are smarter. That is why you need to know, if you know that, like which one? Anyway, I have a slide by Peter Drucker that comes later. So no, this one. So once you learn, then you don't have to even commit the mistakes. Like you start something, then you commit, then you know early on that this is not the business that I should have started. You come back. Rather than doing that, you learn what mistakes other have committed. Then don't commit the same mistakes. So that way you can save all your energy, resources, time. Instead of doing some mistakes, you at least start with a lead. Suppose you know that there are 100 causes of failures and you are about to commit the same mistake. So you learn all these mistakes and don't start a business with the same philosophies that other people started and failed. Okay. Valley of death. Valley of death is this point, because at the beginning, majority of the startup starts developing the technology without really talking to the customers, without really getting their ideas validated by actual customers, by actual smart people. They are also smart people, but then just by smartness, you cannot start a successful business. You have to really learn many things. Never ever have this audacious thought that I am from a big university or something like IITs or maybe Stanford or maybe MIT. So nobody can teach me. I'm the supreme, I have the end of the knowledge. I'm the end of the knowledge. So I don't have to really talk to anybody. This audacity actually is one particular cause of failure. So you have to really talk to the customer rather than thinking that I am a customer. I know better than anybody else what I need. It's not that. Customers will have variety of interest. What interest you have, maybe 90% of the customer do not have. So you have to talk to tens of customers at the beginning, telling them that, I am thinking of a solution like this, and I know that you have a pain. So do you think that this solution is going to give you, going to be useful to you, and you're going to buy this? They might say perhaps, or maybe perhaps not, because I don't like this, I don't like that. If 90% of the customers say that, yes, this is wonderful and I am going to buy, whenever you're going to make this available, don't think that this is the end of the market research and all that, and you have a wonderful idea. Don't think that. All that you can do is you can move one step forward. Don't move 100 steps forward and start building the product, and after a year or two, when the product is ready, go to market. Don't do that. It is just one step, one mini step, baby step. So move that and make a minimum viable prototype. Meaning, you just suppose you are thinking of building an Android app. So don't just build the app spending 3 months of time. You have something called what is that called? First thing, the line drawing. With line drawing, you bring something that is called wireframe or something. Make that, and with some text boxes and all that. Now you talk to another guy. Look, I'm going to make an app. It's going to work like this. These are the different buttons that will be there, and these are the features. Now, if they say that, many of the guys who told at the beginning that I like it so much that whenever this will be available, I'll buy. Now, many of them will say, no, this is not going to work. You don't have this, you don't have that, and you have all those funky things I don't like. So gradually, it's a learning process. It's called validated learning. You validate your idea from customers at every steps. How many steps are there? Maybe 1,000 steps. You never know how many steps. The more steps you can define, the better. The more steps you can define, for every incremental step, you get validated. And if you get validated till the last step, you are amply sure that whatever you're going to build, there are customers who are going to pay for it and buy. So that way you can actually make sure that, yes, you are building something that customers will actually like. There's no doubt. So people do that without this validated learning, and that is why they miserably fail when the product is ready. They go to market to realize that nobody wants my product. And that is the valley of death. Many companies just jump into that and die, jump into that and die. I'm repeating because that is repeatedly happening, and it's not my philosophy. You read any book that they will write about valley of death. You see any blog, they will talk about valley of death, and that is this early phase of startup, when majority of the startup fail because customers do not like what they offer. They offer a product, customers say that competitors' product are far better because of this reason, or service customers do not want. Now, there is something that I'll cover later. I'm just introducing. Customers are of different types. We distribute them like this. There are innovator kind of customers. They constitute only 2.5% of the whole population. Population meaning market segment, not the population by means per se. Now, 13.5% of the market segment are of the type called early adopters. Then 34% early majority, then late majority, then laggards are 60%, 16%. What are their features, or what are their idiosyncrasy? Idiosyncrasy means their unique characteristic features. Like IIT students have unique characteristic features. You have a separate vocabulary. You behave very uniquely. You reflect on certain stimulation very uniquely. That is why we call IITians. And by the term IITians, we can actually imagine in our mental space as to how these people will behave on certain stimulation. So every market segment, the people in every market segment had some kind of idiosyncrasies. Depending on that, we divide them into this. Now, there are 2.5% of the people who are innovative, who would like to buy the new product before anybody else. Whenever they learn that there is a new product, immediately they jump into the bandwagon, and then they will just buy, and they will try to what is that word? Brag on their possession is called whatever, and they say that, I bought this works so well, nice, etc., etc. Feel they get the kick out of the fact that they are the first to buy this product. Then many people will try to know what this product is from these early adopters, but then early innovators, then they will realize that no, this product is not good for this reason, that reason. Early adopters may not buy them. Get this point? There may be early success. You may think that, wow, so many people are buying my product, so it's a successful venture. So let us move forward. Let us manufacture in lakhs and crores because people are buying. Only to realize that these are the early innovators kind of customers who are buying. The early adopters are not buying. So there is no growth. You manufacture so many. Now it is piling up in your go down. Inventory is getting piled up. Nobody is buying. It may so happen that early adopters are thrilled about your product and they start buying. So you acquire many customers, you feel even more enamored and manufacture more. But there is one phase of every startups. There is too much of chasm, meaning from early adopters to early majority, it becomes very difficult to convince these people. Early majority people want more validation. They will be looking at 4-star to 5-star of your feedback. Without 4-star, they will not buy. And if any customer says that, customer service is bad or something or the other is bad, then nobody will buy. So suddenly you fall from the precipice. There is no buyer. There is no growth at all. All early adopters have already bought. All early innovators have already bought. There is no new customers. And you are gone. So that is why you need to understand whether the early majority is going to buy your product or not. If you know that early majority is going to buy my product, voila, you have a successful business model. At the early stage itself, if you can validate, if you can get your idea, product, service validated by some of the early majority people, you have a success story in the making. There are so many things like Edison says, 10,000, if I fail 10,000 times, I know that, etc., etc. I already told that. But then, can we afford to behave like or act like Thomas Edison? Do we have this money to fail 10,000 times? None of us. Maybe Elon Musk may have that amount of money to fail, 1,000 times or 10,000 times. We cannot. What can we do? We can learn from other people's failure. Maybe I am exaggerating this point too much, but this is what people should do, but people do not do. So know why people fail and don't make those mistakes like Edison. This all I already said, 97% of the people fail. But then should this data be menace you? I don't know if the word is right. Meaning, should you feel afraid of this data? Absolutely not, because the data is misrepresented. Merger acquisition is shown as failure because whosoever are collecting data, they collect one single data. What is that? This company existed last month. Does this company exist today? No. So the company failed. Fact is that this company has been merged with some other company and the company is doing wonderfully well. But then it is shown as failed. IIT Kharagpur showed those students as unsuccessful who join some American universities. How? Because they don't apply for jobs. What IIT Kharagpur does is they take all the roll numbers as potential job seekers. Now there are many students who do not even apply for jobs. So they don't get a job. So now the denominator is total number of students. Numerator is how many people got jobs. In the process, the gap, that is those students who do not even bother about a job, are shown as unsuccessful. That is why our placement record says it is 75% or 80% fact is that almost 100% students receive job. This is the way data are collected in startup parlance as well. And they show that these people have failed. There are many examples, you can read them later. So let me not, there are too many stories about that. Like TabJoe, it was acquired by Amazon, but in the statistics, it will be shown as failed company. Like Ofo, they started in India, but they are now abroad because we do not have recharge facility. That is why they have shifted their gears to some other place where there are charging facilities. They are successful, but here it is shown as unsuccessful, meaning failed company. Similarly, eBay is shut down in India because they did not find Indian market good enough. Now, in Indian context, eBay will be shown as a failed company. Anything can be so ridiculous like this. So don't be afraid with the data. That is the message I wanted to convey. Now, whatever may be the fact, like I said earlier also, CB Insight is the company, is an Indian founded company, but it's an American company. They have collated data, real data, no hypothesis or anything. There is no hypothetical data creation or anything. Real data about 101 failed startups. They analyzed all the failed startups and then they came up with this data. This one is, see, 42% of the company failed because they didn't have any market. Notice very carefully. I have actually collected their data, but just to be original, meaning I copied their data, but then I made it for my own presentation. Now, these first 4 reasons have been collated here. See, the first reason is 42% of startups failed because there was no market for their product, meaning that they manufactured something that nobody wanted. Why so? Because they didn't care to understand whether market is actually crying for this product or not. I'll give a burning example moving forward. So let me move fast. 29% of the companies fail because they ran out of cash. Why? Because they didn't plan well in advance. Suppose they are going to run out of cash maybe 3 months from now. So they don't try to project that cash flow. Most of the companies do not try to project their cash flow. It is very easy to do. It is very easy to preempt and understand when we are going to run out of cash and try to collect money from investors, or try to tighten your purse, meaning don't spend money left and right. Maybe you postpone some of the salaries. Maybe say you tell your employees that there is a imminent or impending problem. So take 10% cut and then let us somehow manage this phase and try to connect with investors, and then we'll pay fully. So you can, if you run out of cash on a particular month, your cash flow is negative, you cannot move to the next month. It is absolutely not possible. You cannot. It's not tenable. So that is why what you need to do actually is to plan in advance, do cash flow, learn how to do cash flow statement. Get this. And if you I'm going to teach you how to make cash flow statement thoroughly without leaving any doubt left. 23% failed due to disharmony among founders. Co-founders, they build co-founder just like that. Many people identify co-founder in train or in a journey in a plane or somewhere. They sit beside somebody and start talking and say that, okay, I'm going to start a business like this. The other guy says, wow, this is wonderful. Even I was thinking of starting something like this. Why don't we join hands? It should not be like that. How it should be, we'll discuss. 19% failed because they were outcompeted. We will see how this competitive advantage is created, etc., etc. So let us move ahead. The first reason why companies fail the majority of the reason why companies fail is that they manufacture something that nobody wants. What one should do? They should do a market research at the beginning, and they should understand whether customers are ready to buy this product. Maybe this is a wonderful piece of technology. Maybe this is, but sometimes this is ahead of time. Meaning you come up with a wonderful technology which will be relevant maybe 10 years down the line, 10 years after. But you come up with that product, you manufacture a product that nobody wants to buy because they don't know what it is, how to use that. So I'm going to give a burning example. Time is short. Okay. This example refers to Iridium. Iridium was a company that was founded by the who's who of corporate world in telecom industry. Iridium is a telecom industry. It was started by none other than, what is the name? The big name in America. I think I have the name somewhere. Hope. No. I always forget the name when I start the class. Whatever. The largest American telephone company today, not AT&T. They have their handset also. It's popular in India, somewhat popular, not fully popular. So they're the first telecom company in US. It's coming, but not come. Okay, forget it. So the co-founders, come again?
Verizon.
No, not Verizon. They manufacture this cell phone called, just remembered, Razr.
Motorola.
Motorola, right? Thank you. Motorola is the company. Now, co-founder of Motorola, some of the co-founder, they've identified this technology and they thought that this is a futuristic technology and there is no reason why people will not buy our services. So they started Iridium. What is Iridium? They launched 66 satellites all around the world. Look at the globe here, and these are satellites. They've launched 66 satellite, spending $6 billion. 6 billion means 45,000 crore rupees in today's value. 45,000 crore rupees. Can you imagine what kind of money this is? They started as a unicorn, meaning their value was $6 billion. And what their objective was, they thought, this was launched in 1998. That time cell phone was not so popular. They thought people want connectivity everywhere. If you are in the jungle, in the Sundarban, or maybe in the ocean, or maybe anywhere in a desert or somewhere, you want connectivity because if you have a problem, you want to get connected. If you are an executive, you want to remain connected. So they wanted to give this connectivity through 66 satellites, meaning from anywhere it can be routed to any satellite and then connection can be established. That was the objective. So they spent $6 billion thinking that we know better. We know the customer better. Customers do not know themselves. We know them better. And they started this business with so much of money. What the founder assumed, if communication made possible from anywhere to anywhere, people have every reason to lap it up. And what happened? 9 months later, on August 13, 1999, they filed for bankruptcy. They became bankrupt, meaning they had no money to pay to anybody. They said, we cannot pay anything to anybody, just take our company. Take whatever is there. I cannot pay, we cannot pay you. So they surrendered. And eventually the company, which was floated with $6 billion, meaning $6,000 million, was sold for 35 million. Only 35 million. Why? Because the cost of the service was prohibitively high. Meaning one call from India was costing 2,500 rupees. Who on earth is going to use that except Mukesh Ambani or maybe the billionaires? But your business of $6 billion cannot be targeting only the billionaires. Unless you can target the ordinary people, you will not sustain. They cannot pay you so much. They will not make so many calls in a day. So cost was poor, cost was high. Then indoor reception was high, meaning if you have the phone within the house or maybe in a lift or maybe a train or anywhere, maybe a metro or something, there is no signal at all. So people used to think that, why this nonsense? If I have to receive a call, I have to go outside the house. My goodness. And their handset was almost like a suitcase. It was not a handset, it was a box. You have to carry that box always with you to receive the signal. So people did not like to buy, and that is why there was no business at all. And that is why they failed. What they should have done, what they should have done is they should have contacted customer that, are you ready to pay 2,500 rupees for a call? Are you ready to use this box as a handset? Will you sustain this service for a long time? Meaning, will you accept going outside the house to outside the home to make a call? If 90% of the customer would have told them that we are not ready for this technology, perhaps they would not have done this. Perhaps they would have done what they should have done is they should have done some market research before starting, and customer would have told them that no, we don't like it. Then they would have done some research as to how to reduce the size of the box, how to increase the power of the signal gradually. Actually, by the time they would have completed this whole market research and some research, cell phone technology was changing fast, rapidly changing. So they would have become successful 5 years down the line because everything was changing, everything was becoming favorable. They did not do that. They should have engaged in research and development, market research, validated learning. Gradually, they would have actually come up with successful, at least some successful format of the business. Maybe they would have talked to the military, the other people who can afford this, where there is no restriction about money, etc. So they did not. So read all of that about this. This is all self-explanatory. I am also running out of energy and it is almost time. Then there is the second reason is running out of cash. I already said, when people run out of cash, when they do not plan for cash flow. If they plan for cash flow in advance, they would not have done this. So at least for these two reasons, you are now sure that failure can be avoided if you plan in advance, if you do market research, go for validated learning, and if you can make some cash flow in advance, then you will not fail. Like this drone startup, they said we ran out of financial runway. How much money they raised? $118 million. They raised $118 million and then failed. Sorry. This is another guy. The full story is here. He was the businessman of the year in a particular year because his business grew from $6 lakh to $7 million in a year. So he thought that nobody can stop him from becoming successful. But then he realized later that I was burning cash left and right that I could have avoided. That was not something to be done. And then what he says in his obituary is like this, that I heard people saying that cash is the king, but I say cash is not the king. It is the cash flow which is the king. So cash flow means you should see that money is coming back. It is not just selling handset that matters, or anything for that matter. How quickly you are capable of recovering that money, and is the money coming with a profit or is the money coming with a loss? Suppose you make a cell phone for 10,000 rupees and you are selling it for 9,000. It is selling like hot cake. How long can you bear this 1,000 rupees of loss per handset? Is it sustainable? How long it is sustainable? Unless you do that math, you will not go anywhere. There are many examples actually. Now there is no time. Maybe I'll take from here, but I don't want to discuss so small points. But then in the last session, just a minute. Shiba Chaudhary, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you download the attendance? You go to show participants and you see the 3 dots here. Then you will find download attendance. Can you do that immediately? Or
Yes,
you don't
sir.
have Excel in your this thing?
I'm trying.
Okay, try and do it immediately, because there are smart guys who usually give the
I am
attendance later.
participant. Then okay, download attending list.
Got it?
Download.
Wonderful. Just download and mail it to me.
Yes, sir.
Could you do that? In any case, I took the roll numbers, but that is not always efficient. I want the Excel sheet. You got it?
Sir, let me see. No. It's showing downloading, but not yet downloaded. Sir.
Means it is downloading.
Yes.
Okay, I got this text that you guys sent. But it's a
Yes,
time
sir.
consuming issue. Okay, so please mail it to me.
Yes.
Thank you. So we'll quit it here. Because I don't know if you have classes after 1 o'clock.
Oh, sir, this is lunch break.
Yeah, so can I continue for some more time? We lost a lot of time. No, ठीक है. We will do some other time. Okay, so you can quit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and bye bye. Attendance 01/2021 set.